YouTube's copyright system is fucking cancer.
So I just saw Infinite, the newest Mark Wahlberg movie. And it was something, alright? This movie is not very good. Or interesting to the point where I had to do a video about it. I'm just reviewing it because my laptop died a few weeks ago and I need to practice editing with Sony Vegas, or just Vegas, I think it's just called Vegas nowadays. I need to get used to making videos on my new laptop. That's the only reason I make it in this review. Infinite. Remember that movie from last year, The Old Guard, where we have a group of people that are immortal? Well, Infinite is a worse version of that, which isn't a good start since that movie wasn't anything special to begin with. In this movie's universe, there's a group of people who call themselves Infinite, and that's because they remember everything from their past lives. It's not really immortality since they do die, but they keep getting reincarnated in new bodies. So yeah, in my book that counts as a type of immortality. Not the best version, but it's certainly better than nothing. Within the Infinite, there are two groups, the believers and the nihilists. The good guys and the bad guys, basically. Whereas the believers want to use their knowledge to help mankind, the nihilists just want to die and be done with all this shit. And the best way to do this, according to the nihilists, is to use a weapon they created capable of killing everything on Earth. This way there can't be any more reincarnations. This weapon is stolen right at the beginning of the movie by our protagonist, the leader of the believers. And that's what keeps the plot going. The nihilists want the weapon back. That's the whole premise. In terms of originality, this movie doesn't have a lot to offer. It's a generic sci-fi movie with good guys and bad guys, someone trying to destroy the world and all that crap. There isn't much here, and there's even less when it comes down to characters and storytelling. The main guy, played by Mark Wahlberg, is the latest reincarnation of the leader of the believers. The only issue is that, in order to create drama, this version of him does not remember all of his past lives. He remembers when it's useful for the plot. That's it. For most of the film, he plays a regular guy who is introduced into a world where reincarnation is real. The movie needs him to be ignorant so he can lay out large amounts of exposition. Sometimes they even say the same shit twice.
There are among us a people gifted with a perfect memory of all their past lives. They call themselves Infinites. Among the Infinites, two groups have vied for power. The believers, dedicated to using their knowledge for the protection and growth of all humanity. Against them stand the nihilists, who see this power as a curse.
We call ourselves the Infinite. Less than 500 souls from across the globe, all born with the ability to remember all our past lives and the skills we've learned in each of them. There are two groups within the Infinites, Bathurst and the nihilists, who just want the world to end, and us, the believers.
Besides that, there are a bunch of other problems. First of all, the normal guy he's supposed to play is an unemployed schizophrenic with the body of someone who spends 12 hours a day in the gym, and in his free time he forges katanas. No, I'm not kidding. Immediately after the movie shows him eating leftovers and him thinking to himself how he needs to make money as soon as possible, it cuts to him forging a katana. How? Where is he? He's an unemployed schizophrenic and yet he's able to forge a katana in New York City? Are there just random places in New York you can go for free where they give you metal and all the tools you need to make katanas? How does this scene make any sense? It exists so the audience knows that in one of his past lives he used to be a Japanese blacksmith, but it doesn't work with the previous scene. You can't go from this guy is a poor unemployed schizophrenic to him forging a fucking katana out of nowhere. That can't be a cheap hobby to have, even if he is working in his garage or whatever this place is. It looks bizarre and raises more questions than it should. Then there's Mark Wahlberg's performance. It's not one of his best, maybe even worse than the one he gave in that Transformers movie with the dinosaurs. He has the same monotone expression throughout most of the film, and whenever his character changes his mind about doing something dangerous, it's always a 180. In 1 second, he doesn't believe in this reincarnation bullshit, in the next second, he's looking into the female protagonist's eyes, and boom, he's a believer.
So you're saying that 100 doctors are wrong, 50 medications didn't work because I'm really a reincarnated Russian blacksmith? You know what I'm really asking myself right now is, what if the craziest thing I've ever heard, this isn't crazy shit, it's actually the first thing that's ever made any goddamn sense?
This is not good acting, it just looks forced and fake. Doesn't seem believable whatsoever, almost like the actors aren't even trying. It looks like shit, like most of this film. The antagonist is played by this actor I recognize from the disaster movie 2012, and he was also in The Old Guard, funny enough. Maybe he likes this type of movies. His character is the leader of the nihilists. He's the one that ordered the creation of a doomsday weapon. He also created another gadget that's quite interesting. This gun he uses whenever he shoots a member of the Believers. Turns out the design isn't ridiculous just because. This is a special gun called Dethroner. If it sounds stupid, it's on par with everything else in this movie. This gun is capable of trapping the consciousness of someone like him, someone who can reincarnate, and blocks their next reincarnation. Their minds are trapped in a virtual world. And this is where you start to see the holes in the story. This guy is looking for a weapon that can kill everybody on Earth, just so he doesn't have to come back the next time he dies. But he already has a weapon capable of stopping someone from being reborn. It doesn't take a genius to realize that maybe he should just use this gun on himself and be done with it. That way he doesn't have to come back or kill every organism on the planet. Everybody wins. So, as you can see, when you start thinking about the movie's logic, it all falls apart, rather quickly actually. There's this scene where he tells his followers they have to find a hideout of the Believers as soon as possible, and in the very next scene, we see his soldiers flying towards the damn place, almost like they already knew where the good guys were hiding.
If we don't find him before he gets his memories back, we lose the egg.
But who knows, maybe they googled it or something. The movie also introduces the idea that because you remember all of your past lives, you are somehow able to control matter and space. Superpowers essentially, that's how they justify the logic behind action scenes that look straight out of a Fast and Furious movie. But at the same time, the movie doesn't do anything else with this idea. It's just there to justify some of the most outlandish stunts the protagonist is able to do. It comes off like someone watched the demo version of the movie, criticized the action scenes, and then the poor screenwriter had to come up with a bullshit explanation for why those scenes make sense. Hey, at least they didn't use quantum or nanotechnology to explain it. So that's something, I guess. Not sure if there's anything else to say. I think I said everything worth saying about the film. I don't remember most of the music, so I guess I can also say the score was forgettable, except that first song. The song that played during the opening car chase was so not subtle, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, anyway, this is not a good movie, pretty terrible actually. It's slightly entertaining, but not to the point where I would recommend this to other people. It's more tedious than enjoyable, so you can skip this one. Watch The Happening instead, another terrible movie starring Mark Wahlberg, but unlike this one, The Happening is actually funny. I'm giving Infinite a 2 out of 10. I was back and forth between a 2 and a 3, but since I gave Zack Snyder's Justice League a 3, this movie gets a 2. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a better movie overall. Still terrible as far as I'm concerned, but not as bad as this one. Don't watch this. In a few days I'll release a review of something worth watching. Until then, see you next time.